Hey everybody, we're here with half of Violent Soho, Luke and James. Thanks so much for taking the time.
That's all right.
I don't usually get the louder records, but I'm happy that I got this one because it's a pretty cool record.
Thanks.
Here's my question. How did you guys get hooked up with Thurston Moore? Because he's a pretty interesting cat, and you guys hooked up with him for the release of this record, right?
Yeah, we toured Australia for about 5 years, and we put out our own records and everything there. But eventually we showcased over in London, New York, and LA, and the CD made its way to Thurston Moore's desk before we even arrived in New York, and he showed up to Pianos in Soho, and he was there in front of us while we were playing. And straight after the show, he said, "Please let me put out your record," and it was done. It's that easy.
Yeah.
All you got to do is send it to him. He listens to everything.
Pretty big for your career, though, for a guy Sonic Youth, right?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, yeah.
I remember the night he was playing in front of, he literally stood in front of James, and we're all kind of, going, and then you see this really tall guy, he's really tall, and he's just headbanging, and then I remember I was in the middle of singing, and I was thinking in my head, is that Thurston Moore? Like, is that...
Yeah, and absolutely massive for our career.
Us,
I mean, you got to remember. I mean, 9 months ago, before we started touring non-stop, we, I was an electrician. Luke was working full time, developing websites and stuff. So, to have Thurston Moore contact you when you're in Brisbane, Australia, and you're just a small independent band, it definitely, blew our minds.
I'd say if everyone said that was a changing point, that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was when we went, okay, maybe we should quit our jobs.
Yeah.
Do you guys write all your music together, or is it mostly you two that write the music?
It's really only Luke.
Really? So what's a guy from Brisbane so upset about? Here you are in a beautiful part of the world where it's sunny and gorgeous most of the time.
I haven't written the second album yet.
Well, and you're just...
How do you know I won't come out with
That's true.
It's Calypso.
Okay. Yeah, it's a Calypso record. No, but why are you so sad?
Oh, it's just, I mean, you got to remember when you do your first album, it's 5 years, and even longer for this one. I mean, you get this chance to do your first, I did other recordings, but this was our first studio album where it was funded, and we went to a studio in Wales for 6 weeks, and we just got to record music.
Right.
And you get a chance to record your best songs, your best 13 songs from the last, ever since you started writing.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I think, I don't know, that's just my take on things maybe. But yeah, I mean, there's a whole, I think where we're from, in the suburbs in Brisbane, that's what this album's really about. It's kind of like we grew up in these kind of boring suburbs, Christian Bible Belt area, and I think a lot of that's channeled through these songs, and it came out in the album in the end kind of as a collective.
Some of the record is holdovers from songs that you had already written, like Jesus Stole My Girlfriend, and the other one is Son of Sam, which I know gets a ton of play right back home. And so what's that like, putting together 13 songs? I mean, this is for all intents and purposes, your debut to the world in a much bigger way. Is that a daunting task?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, I think in some ways it was, in some ways it wasn't. When we recorded the songs, it was sometime, for one song was like the 5th time we recorded it.
Right.
And so by then you kind of really have nailed down exactly what you want it to sound like, and I mean exactly. But yeah, it was a daunting task, but I think a second album will even be more daunting when we have a year to write it, and we hit a studio again. But I think it's more exciting because we'll actually have a different concept to work off, and yeah. But I
think it's beginning to get more daunting because when we went in to record it, I mean, exactly we were just we were just super excited. We were getting to work with Gil Norton. We made definitely my favorite album of all time, and we were just out of our minds. We had Thurston, contacting us, and it was just like we were just super excited. So at the time, it wasn't daunting. It was just like, how fun is this? Yeah. And now that we're
9 months on the road.
Yeah, we haven't been home to Australia.
The reality
in 9
of
months,
how much work it actually is sets in, which is fine. It's all fun.
Yeah,
but it's
sure beats working for a living, right?
I don't know yet. I'll see when I'm 30 and see if I'm still alive.
you mentioned Gil Norton, but we ask everybody who sits down on the couch to talk about 5 records that they can't live without, that music that influences their career, and I imagine for you, well, what are those records? Luke, you want to go first?
So with 5 each?
Sure, 5 each.
All right. There's one would be obviously Pixies' Doolittle. Another one would be and I'm going to get shot for saying this, but I just think it's an incredible record. Everclear, Sparkle, and I think that's a really Sparkle and Fade.
Yeah, Sparkle and Fade.
Sorry, I was worried I was mentioning so much of the Afterglow.
Yeah.
I did not want to mention.
You didn't want to mention that one.
But Sparkle and Fade, I think Heron Girl is one of the best, fast songs ever written. I'm a massive fan of Melvin's Houdini. I'm also a big Radiohead fan, so I'm going to go out there and I'll say I'm going to say Kid A, because the reason, I just think a band at that scale to make such a big change at that time, what they're doing was just really ambitious, and I think a lot more artists should be doing jumps like that and changing. And
hence the Calypso record for your second.
Hence the Calypso, no one knows where we're going next. No one.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. You wait till I come to the rehearsal room with these new songs, man. Got to learn some of that Hawaiian.
We're on tour with the El Mariachi.
Oh, what's a 5th album off the top of my head?
There's got to be a Nirvana one in there, sure.
Yeah, there's a Nirvana. Yeah, I just haven't listened to
probably.
It so long. Been trying to, but In Utero is obviously a very important album for a lot of reasons, for a lot of people. And I'd say In Utero as well.
James?
I would definitely say Nirvana and Utero. That's sort of how Luke and I, started talking about music through Nirvana and bands like that. Pixies, Surfer Rasta, without a doubt. To be honest, I really love Blink-182's last album. I think that I could not live without that. Probably the songs I could most not live without are the songs that Luke writes, because if he wasn't writing them, then I wouldn't be playing. So if you want to go on...
or eating, or any of the other things, right?
I have a lot of power in James's life.
It's true. I get to eat.
Yeah.
What I'm really going to say, an album that we absolutely crank in the tour van is Sum 41 Chuck.
Really?
We do. We crank it in the tour van. There's no doubt about it. I know it wasn't as popular as a lot of their other albums, but, a lot of people think that we're, really stuck on a 90s thing. But, we grew up in the mid-90s where it was punk rock and all of that. It was just at the end of that when everyone started, rolling around in wet comic books and came out looking like Guns N' Roses but still calling it hardcore or whatever, that we made the decision to focus on the last time we remember music being real, which was, the 90s and being honest. But we still have that real power pop influence by bands like Sum 41 or Blink-182 or Weezer.